So in this video, we are going to look at the very first lab in the LNL Labs website. And that first lab is the orientation lab. Okay. So if I click on this, and so the lab doors are opening, and here you are in your virtual lab. So they're trying to make it as realistic as possible. And as I said, you have the lab manual that shows up on the right side. And then you can click on that to open it. And then you see here the background. And then when you click here, you'll see the procedure, what they want you to do. This is where you will write down your lab notes and then save the notes frequently. You can even print it out if you wish to. I also suggest that you keep just a notepad with you when you're performing the experiment, and make sure you're writing down whatever notes that you're taking as you're proceeding with the experiment in your notepad as well. All right. There are times when I have performed the labs where even though I did click on save notes, all of my notes were lost. I have no idea why. So it could happen. So just as an added precaution, I know it's tedious and time consuming, but it's worth that time investment to add on, to take the time to make some extra notes in your notepad as you proceed. So in addition to your lab notes here, make sure you write an exact copy of those notes on your notepad as well. All right, so in this particular first lab, it's just trying to get you oriented to the virtual lab environment. So it gives you all the background about how to work in a virtual laboratory, etc. All right. And so the first part is it tells you about this virtual lab environment and tells you how to find things, where what containers mean. Containers mean the glassware. That's where we are. If you click on materials, you'll see all the chemicals that you need for the experiment. And then if you click on instruments, you will see all the instruments like the pH meter, the thermometer, the weighing balance, and so on. Okay. So just click on the relevant shelf tab, and then you will see what you need as you proceed. Okay. Now this, you can move this, all right? So you can move this lab manual to wherever if you need more space. You can also zoom in if you wanted to look at your lab workbench better. This lab log will log your time, the amount you've spent while performing the lab. And this is useful for me as an instructor because I can see how much time you spent, when you logged in, the dates you logged in, etc. All right, so this is how I can keep tabs on you. And then this is where you can clear the table if you want to. You can do it directly, or you can pull them and bring them into the recycle bin. And then when you finish with the lab, you then exit out of the lab. All right. So let's try something. It says take a test tube from the shelf. So we'll go into containers. We'll take a test tube and bring it onto the workbench. And then it says take 5 ml of water from the materials. So this is distilled water, and you place it right on top of the test tube, and then you see this comes up, and then you punch in 5 ml and press OK, and then you can see the water level rising up in here. And if you bring your cursor and over and you scroll over this, you'll see that it says there's 5 ml in there. All right, and then it says take a thermometer from the shelf, from the instruments, and attach it. So you go into this tab, and then you pick up a thermometer and you click. You hear that click where it latches on, and it gives you the temperature. Now, the temperature is in degrees centigrade. You can click on this to change it to Fahrenheit or change it to Kelvin. However, for this experiment, centigrade is fine. Most of the time we'll be using metric. All right, so in metric system, rather than Fahrenheit, we're using centigrade as our unit for temperature. Okay, so you can switch to your lab notes, as it says, and record all your data. Once you're finished, you can clear up your bench for the next set of experiments. All right, so now I can just take this thermometer and get rid of it if I want to. Whoops, here you go. Okay, and I can keep this aside. All right, and then I'll go back into the containers, and it says practice setting up some reactions that you'll perform in later labs. So you'll become it's pretty simple, and you'll kind of become the experts in doing this, because like I said, it's not complicated at all. So it says bring over some more test tubes. There's unlimited containers, unlimited materials, unlimited instruments. All right, so so you're bringing in some more test tubes onto your workbench, and I want to space them a little apart so there's enough space. And then it says add cabbage juice to it. So we get into the materials and we look for red cabbage extract. This is an indicator. This test tube was the first test tube containing water, so I'm going to add 5 ml of the red cabbage extract, and so there's a total of 10 ml now, and it's got this kind of a vivid purple type of color, lavender color. Okay, so again, to the next test tube I'm going to add 5 ml of the cabbage extract, and so on. All right, so to every one of them I'm going to add 5 ml of the red cabbage extract. And if you don't place it just right, it will tell you that it's incorrect, right? You won't see. Whoops. Okay. So now all of them, I have got 5 ml of the red cabbage extract, except for this one, which has got an additional 5 ml of water. All right. Now it says add 5 ml of acetone to one of them. So I'm going to look for acetone, and this is acetone. So I'm going to add 5 ml of acetone here. And it kind of looks just like the water test tube, right? There's no change in color. All right, then it's 5 ml of citric acid. So this is citric acid, so I'm going to add 5 ml of that to the third test tube, and there's a color change. It's now looking red. All right, and 5 ml of the 5% vinegar. Okay, so 5% vinegar, so I add that, and this also turns kind of red. It looks like the citric acid. And then 5 ml of ammonia, so I'm going to look for ammonia, and here I've added. Now here the color change is vivid yellow. All right, so in water and the acetone it's this purplish color. In citric acids, that both the acids, it's red, and the ammonia is yellow. Then you come to the instruments, and it says to add a pH meter to all of those test tubes. Okay, so I come here and then I add a pH meter to all of them. So this is 7, 1.37. All right, so that's pretty low. 2.55, a little bit higher than the other one, and then 11.78. So as you can see here, the water and the acetone are both neutral. pH 7 is neutral. Any pH below 7 is acidic, and you can see that with the citric acid and the vinegar, they're below 7. However, the citric acid is 1.37 as compared with the vinegar, which is 2.55. So the citric acid is definitely stronger. It's more acidic than the vinegar, the 5% vinegar. And then you have ammonia, which is above 7, showing it's a base or it's alkaline. It's 11.78 with a high pH. Okay. All right. Now, if you want, you can just clear up the table, and it says okay, and you clear up the table, and you've written all your lab notes. You can print them out, and then once you're done, you can exit out, and you press OK, and you are done with this lab. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my courses, and this is your class CH125L 2017. However, for you, you may not see the kind of screens I had to go through. It might take you directly to the assignment. So assignments can be of two types. They can be short answer and multiple choice. And as you can see here, anytime you need technical support, this thing shows up on the page and on any labs as you're doing, and you can always click here if you are having problems. So let's go into the assignment to look at it. And again, your screens will look quite different than mine. So I have my answer key on one side, which most of it I typed in, and then your screen will just have the questions. All right, so this is where you will be recording your data for the experiment, and then you have a post-lab question to answer, and then your lab write-up, your aim, your hypothesis, the materials used, the procedure, your observations, results, and your conclusions. All right, so I've done my write-up here for the answer key, and as I said, I have my data under the observations, I have my results, and then my conclusions, which is the part that I look at most in all the lab write-ups to see what type of connections did you make between what you did in this lab, the content that you learned, and the real life applications. Okay. All right, so that's the end of this video.